The grand gazebo. It's the grandest gazebo. Have you ever seen such a grand gazebo? What's up to you guys today? The group, we seem to have a topic from the group by Val. How your family sort of like addressing like your mental health issues. I don't feel like I'm really have so much to say about this, but I'll try to see what I do have to say about this. I don't even know if I'm going to upload this video saying this and then you guys see it like, oh, it's uploaded though. I had just Katie had me thinking the other day. In my kind of experience, I feel like I overeat. Not like I'm like overweight, but I know I'm eating way too much food. I know that's for a fact. You know, especially it's not just food, but like too much junk food. I post all the time like I love pizza. That's real. I love a lot of pizza. If it was up to me, I'd be eating pizza every single day. Now, you know, you want to question if this is mental health related or not. I feel like it kind of is in a sense. It's still, you know, you got to ask yourself, why am I overeating? Why am I doing this? What is the real root cause to my overeating? I do find lots of times that overeating is really, it's related to, yeah, like you have like basically a bad, I call it a negative emotion in your stomach, and you're overeating so that you just don't have to deal with it. Sort of like you're just shoving it down. And basically, and how my family has been responding to this, well, they say I look like I don't eat too much. I get that all the time, but in my, you know, just I know I'm overeating too much. In a sense, it's kind of it's not really, I guess, a good video to address how your family's dealing with it, but I do feel like, I guess this is an issue I'm sort of dealing with on my own in a sense. And that may be how a lot of people actually really feel like they're dealing with their own mental health issues. That, I mean, granted, there are a lot of families out there that are so understanding, so supportive, but at the same time, they don't really understand. They don't really know what you're going through. Only you really know what you're going through. Only you really know your struggles. Only you really know what it feels like or how bad it is or what really potentially caused that. I say potentially because maybe you're still kind of looking for the sources or the symptoms. Sort of, I take family on the other end now. Sort of, I guess that was my little like, sort of like jolt on how your family might be dealing with your mental health issues. In a sense, I feel like it is always kind of going to be, I mean, it's a perspective. It's an opinion. Everybody lives their own perspective, their own opinion. But from what I see is like, at least from what I understand, as loving, as understanding as your family may be, they're never really going to truly understand what you're going through. And I say that as someone who I think I'm actually like exceptionally understanding of people in their conditions. Now that sounds kind of arrogant and conceited, but we are sort of, we have, I don't like to be too specific, but my girlfriend's mom lives with us. And she's not necessarily considered to be the most mentally stable. You know, my girlfriend, she's really stressed out about having her there. Like, actually, could even open up with this story, but she's, nobody wants her, basically. We're the only ones who's like taking care of her. Like everyone, all of her family, all of her relatives, every single person she knew shunned her, and they just tried to get rid of her. And she's kind of just like here with us because she really has nowhere else to go. And it's not like we're gonna just let her, you know, have nowhere to live. She has 3 daughters. One of them has never tried to actually, at least in recent times, there's been time before where they've been unfortunately stuck with her because she's literally just kind of showed up at their door. And we're just like, hey, I'm here. But now in recent times, she hasn't tried to contribute to helping her really anyway whatsoever. She doesn't want her to stay at her house. And her other daughter, kind of paused for a moment because I felt like that didn't exactly come out exactly, I like the energy and the thoughts didn't flow as well as it should have. But her other daughter, she's only recently started helping her, and she took her on for like 2 weeks, and she just wants to get rid of her. Basically, you know, my own girlfriend, she's really upset. She's waiting for when her mom can get her own apartment. So basically, what I'm trying to like build up to is saying that I feel like when you're really, I'll call it like a hard case newbie, or you're just, that's just a term, or you're just like really, really bad. Like there's a point where you go too far off the end and nobody really wants to help a person like that. It's like a sad truth. Like, think about this. I saying like, and I'm stumbling all over my words, but if you have some relative and they're just like literally crazy, they're just as bad as you could think they are. They're just full of anger, full of depression, full of anxiety. They drive you crazy. They do all these weird, crazy things. You know, you just can't stand them. Are you going to be like, yeah, just live with me. I'll just support you and take care of you the rest of their life, when they just honestly seem like an annoying jerk at the end of the day? Sometimes it really seems like that. Like, see, now I'm even painting it from the other side of the picture. At some point, you know, when you're out the outsider looking at somebody's like too far off, I'm not talking about like my YouTube community, but I'm talking about somebody like way worse, just way far off, the kind of person who maybe even ends up homeless. Like at some point you're just way too stuck in your ways. You're just being way too arrogant. You're not really facing reality, and you're just not trying to be like a considerate, like helpful person. Like you're just running around being maybe an angry jerk, maybe a violent person. You know, there's all different types of forms of mental illness, not just your basic bipolar, schizophrenia. There's like, because honestly, I don't know how I would qualify my girlfriend's mom, like what I'd really call her. It feels like she just has some of everything. But at the end of the day, the way I kind of see it is she just looks like she's really just kind of lost and stuck in her head, in her own world. And she's been living in her reality for way too long, for like 50 years plus now. And she doesn't want to break out of that. She doesn't want to find maybe another way to live her life. She's just too set and stuck in her ways. And it's like, maybe you have these conditions, but then you're also being unreasonable and you're being hard to deal with. And now nobody wants to deal with you. Kind of flipped it around. First it was like how you're on your own, and then I flipped it around and it's like painted the picture of maybe why you're on your own. Now this isn't to offend anyone. I have a specific person I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anyone in my YouTube community. You guys all seem like great people. You don't seem like you've gone too far off the edge. I mean, you're out there trying. A lot of you are making videos, you're doing your own thing. A lot of you have families, you know, there's a lot going on in your lives, and you look like you're trying to be like productive, reasonable, honest members of society. But there comes in a point where just nobody, not talking about anyone specifically, but there comes at a point where just nobody wants to deal with you anymore when you've gone too far off the edge. Try to bring it back in. I'm going all around in this video. Started off with talking about how you can feel like it's really easy to feel like you're just alone in your condition. Because like I said, no one really knows what you're going through. And then I even painted the picture of why maybe at some point you're alone, because nobody wants to deal with you. And then sort of that's how you're going to end up homeless, or nobody wants to take care of you anymore. This isn't one of my usual videos. You know, this isn't really something I felt like I had the most merit or to talk about, if merit's even the right word. But you know, my community is talking about it. My YouTube family, I call it mental health community unite. I don't necessarily, well, I have your attention, assuming I have anyone's attention. I don't necessarily feel like I'm an exception to the rule. Like I've told this to like Blur's Completely Complicated Life, that the way I kind of see it, like I'm pretty sure I could walk into a mental health institution and, you know, try to get diagnosed with something, and maybe they'll say they'll have some symptoms, maybe some signs, but I don't think anyone would say I have any real blown out condition and that I need medication. Like basically, I don't think they would say I'm really qualified for any kind of serious condition, as a lot of other people would. But now coming from this side of things, as what's considered to be a normal person per se, I think that's BS. I don't think there's any such thing as a normal person, is my honest belief from this side, from this perspective of it. Going through so many different perspectives, but from now this new perspective on it, I think, you know, I think we all have anxiety. I think we all have depression. I think we all have problems. We all have issues. We all freak out at times. We all have sudden spouts of anger or sadness, sudden, just nonstop anxiety. We're all going through it. And it's like you may have a specific condition, but I do believe if we can start dealing with those two things, anxiety and depression, a lot of the other conditions might at least not be as strong, not be as powerful, not as overwhelming. Because at times, what more is there to your condition? Maybe like Blur's is talking about like crazy thoughts he has with one of his conditions, and these thoughts that are racing through his mind. But is that not anxiety? No offense. Bipolar, you're going back and forth between happiness and depression, but it's not like I feel like I'm an exception to the rule, even though I don't qualify as being bipolar. I feel like normal people go back and forth between depression and depression and happiness. There's a point to all of this. Now I'm trying to kind of paint the picture. Zoda, let me bring on this one more point, try to shove it in there. Now, I do believe there are people that are born a certain way and you can't really do anything about that. But I also do believe there are people that maybe they had anxiety in a specific place of their mind. Hold up one moment. Now, I do believe I am recording. Just got to make sure I'm recording. Now, here's another perspective on that. Now, I'm saying there are people who are born a certain way, and there's not necessarily as much you can do about it, I'll say. Now, I do believe, though, there are people who, like, for example, develop MS later, and one day you're 35, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, and you get the surgery, you get not surgery, you get an x-ray, and you have holes in your head, you got brain damage. Now, what I'm suggesting, which I suggested in another video, maybe, let's say right here, just right here, I have a lot of anxiety, and for some reason, this is the part of my brain I'm overworking. I believe usually they say anxiety is somewhere more in the back of your brain, more in the top back, but just for the sake of making the point, let's say right here, I'm just burning this part of my brain, overthinking every single day for 30, 40, 50 years, and then years later, this part of my brain is damaged. I'm suggesting maybe there's more to it than what we think. Maybe we're not just born, screwed. Maybe we're actually causing our own conditions, not by our own faults. I'm not saying it's your fault. We're put in a world that doesn't exactly make sense. Our bodies have instincts that go date back millions of years, and we're trying to adjust to today's modern society, which is so much more stressful than it's ever been before. Not saying that it's necessarily harder, but there's more reasons to have anxiety than probably ever in human time. So now we're all here, anxiety here or back there somewhere, and you're burning that part of your brain and it's damaging, and then later on you develop a real mental condition. Now the point I really bring up all this is to say that maybe if your issue is technically self-caused, just hear me out, because I don't want to offend anyone. I'm trying to bring it to a positive light, then maybe we can reverse this. Maybe we can fix this. And that's not even a maybe. They actually do believe that you can change the structure of your brain, that you can change your brain's chemistry. You can actually, literally physically, they can prove it on graphs. I mean, it's pretty obvious if you take drugs, you're gonna mess up your brain, you're gonna burn your brain. But what they don't talk about as much is that maybe when you live a different lifestyle, you become a different person, you're happier, positive, more, I want to say intelligent, but that's not really the word. Maybe a more well-read person who's studying things more, trying to grow, trying to self-development. Maybe you can actually start repairing your brain. Maybe you can actually reverse some of that damage and then have hope of maybe, now I don't want to say you're going to have hope of having some perfect life one day and you're going to walk around and you'll be like, oh, I'm perfectly normal now. Now I'm OurWorldShifted. I'm not perfectly normal either. I'm not saying I'm some perfect being. I got to be a little bit more vulnerable, being more open. I'm not saying that I'm like the example of what to live, but I'm just saying that I've had so much issues over in my past with anxiety, with depression, with stress, with getting angry. That was a big one for me. Honestly, I get so many people all the time that tell me that I seem so calm. And I'm like, I changed who I was as a person, and it's not even like I'm just permanently calm now. It's like every single day, like I have steps, I have techniques, I have methods that I'm using and applying to calm myself down, and I do it every single day. Like I tell people, like when you learn to meditate, it's like, you learn to meditate, you learn to calm down. Now you're gonna do that for the rest of your life, and that's really it. That's really where I want to take this video to, that maybe we can just, really the whole point, the whole philosophy behind my channel is that maybe you're not gonna just permanently fix and remove your problems, but maybe we can learn to manage them better. Maybe we can learn to deal with them better. Maybe there's information out there, there's techniques out there, there's methods out there, there's something out there that can help you. Maybe you can find a book on dealing with bipolar. I think the book on that was, the hallmark on that was, hold up, nobody go nowhere. There's gonna be some fighting editing, but here we go. I hate you, don't leave me. Now this isn't even like, this is what's interesting about this book is I'm not like, oh look, here's a book on bipolar conditions. Guys, with bipolar, go read it. I actually brought this book. I brought it, I didn't even read it myself. I gave it to my girlfriend to help her deal with herself, to help her deal with her mother better. And it honestly, it really does help. Me personally, something that helped me really well. Birds over there going crazy. Something that helped me really well, like I've watched a lot of people's stuff. There's a lot of great books out there. One, yeah, this is good too. Cognitive Burnout, what's up? He did a video about books recently too. Something that helped me out really well was Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. And now that really, honestly, I think it's a book everybody needs to read. That's a personal opinion of mine, you can say, in a lot of ways. Don't necessarily have an authority over that, but I have actual proof. Like I've studied so many people. I don't want to just bore you with a list of people who I've studied on. But when I read this book, I honestly felt like it changed my life. I felt like I became a different person. And why I say anyone should read this book is like, it's sort of what I'm about. That maybe if you were to break down your problems to the root cause, 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 maybe there's some general guidelines, I'll call them, that if you can go by, it can help you start to at least lessen the problems. Like Eckhart Tolle talks about, everyone's so focused on, for example, of anger, that everyone's so focused on becoming a different person, becoming a less angry person. But what he talks about is that maybe you can catch the anger as it comes up and learn how to properly release it and process it and not let it take over you. As if the anger, follow me here, this is where I get a little spiritual woo-woo and people kind of lose me, but as if this is a real thing. It's like the anger, like you kind of imagine it like it's a bug that's inside of you, like boom, like you just got hit with the anger bug. It's an emotion inside of you, but just because you have it doesn't mean you have to run off and go be an angry person. You can sort of, I feel like the easiest way to, for lack of a better term, just like process that emotion, and instead of like attaching yourself to it and becoming an angry person, is almost like you can let it just go through you and leave you and then continue on your life. And like I said, this isn't, for me, it hasn't been like the utmost like permanent solution. Is like once you understand the technique and the methods, check out my last video, really good. I talk about how to remove the parasite of depression. But once you understand the kind of idea, the technique, the methods, you can kind of apply to anything. And then like I say, then you just get to do it for the rest of your life. And don't think of it as a bad thing. It's sort of like every day you do it, you get like a tiny bit better. You might have like sudden gap jumps. Like if we imagine your life is like at I don't know, 20%, just sake of making a point. Let's say your life is just at 20% of as good as it can be. And then you may have jumps every once in a while of like 5, 10, maybe you even felt like 20%. That's kind of really honestly drastic. But most days it's like you're gonna get like 0.01% better. And if you do this over a period of years, this is honestly how you become a master at life. This is how you become everything you want to be. This is how you take control back of your life. It's not like in some one instant sudden moment. It's in the day-by-day struggle, the day-by-day progress, the day-by-day progression, the day-by-day what's up YouTube family, how you guys doing? This is Our World Shifted. I'm gonna be here every day. You guys can hit that subscribe button for me if you want to help me keep moving you along on this day-by-day progression to be stronger individuals. I could keep going on, but I don't like to use the word but. I have other videos, so I don't want to keep you guys here forever. Please feel free, anyone new to me, take a little scroll through my channel. Almost 100 videos up right now. You guys can find something I'm sure will help you be relatable, help you keep moving forward. And I put them out as often as possible because like I said, it's about that daily progress. You know, YouTube is a great example for this. Still recording? And YouTube success, you can, in theory, overnight have 1 million views, 1 million subscribers, in theory. Not saying it's gonna happen, but in theory, overnight you can get 1 million of views, 1 million subscribers, your career can take off, your life can just change, and you can suddenly be a completely different person, living a completely different life in theory. But that's what media wants to show you. That's what society wants to show you. Society doesn't want to show you that maybe that guy that got an explosion for 1 million views was working on his channel for 5 years. Now that's not always the case with YouTube, because YouTube could come up out of nowhere, but that's the case for most people. Take a basketball player. I won't hold you guys for too much longer. I'm going to end this soon. But take a basketball player who's now playing professionally, getting paid millions of dollars. He didn't just wake up one day and suddenly started playing basketball. He practiced it for years and years and years and years and years. And then one day he managed to get himself paid millions of dollars for it. Thank you. Thank the Lord for that. I hope I get to make my millions. I hope we all get to make our millions. The day is ending. And the day is ending of working regular jobs. You hear me, bipolar? That day is coming to an end. This is the future. We're in the future now. It's happening before our eyes. We don't all see it. This is gonna get into a little bit of a side tangent here, but for all you guys out there making YouTube videos and you're waiting, it's just getting started. YouTube's gonna get even bigger. Social media is gonna get even bigger. Even more people are gonna get on it. We sit in a position like, oh, everyone's already doing it. Can we do it? Everyone isn't already doing it yet. The day and age is coming. I gotta make a whole video about this, but the day and age is coming where everybody's gonna be doing it, and we're ahead of the curve. And I hope we're all there sitting one day at home making our money. Not just me, not just YouTubers, but you out there watching, a random person watching this video who has his own dream. I hope you get to realize your dreams, and I hope I get to help that come true. You guys have a nice, not day, nice life. I like to say nice life because I want to change the lives, not days. Have a nice life. Hit that little subscribe button. It's gonna be, I might put it over there. If not, it'll be over there, but maybe it'll be over here this time. Have a nice life. Our world shifted time. Little geese walking around, looking with his little feet. Probably can't see that well. They're adorable though. Adorable.